Good afternoon, Laimdota. It's a great honor to have you here in our exhibition hall with your exhibition OOZE. I would like to talk to you about this exhibition, what it means to you, and about you as an artist. Could you please present your exhibition in short, what it means to you, and to make it more understandable for our guests?
So I'm trying to be not to go too wide. So the first idea is that OOZE is trying, like the exhibition and pieces in the exhibition, it's about trying to catch time or capture time or capture movements, and it's something to do with this obsession, how to deal with this aspect that time is destroying things at the same time, renewing them, but how to encapsulate appearances or sensations or some sort of images, and because our memory is changing and time is destroying things as well as how we are translating past. So how to try to capture, so it's a kind of a fight, trying and failing and trying and failing again. It's kind of a bit never-ending story. So the second aspect is that this exhibition was made after, in my life, a traumatic event happened. My mom died, and it was really slow process. She knew she was ill for years, and it became really calm and slow, and in a way ceremonial. I can't explain clearly how it was, but actually it's kind of I can't disconnect the pieces I were creating a little bit after from this event and thinking about these events, because like when a person goes away, it changes these tiny little moments, and it's kind of memory starts to be rewritten, like this last tea we had, or last talk we had, or what she said. Everything completely changes the importance of things. So yeah, this aspect kind of dominates the idea about trying to capture this time and failing and trying and failing again.
And how did you come up with the title of this exhibition, OOZE?
So I was playing around with words, and this starts to become a name of this little girl. She's appearing in these characters, in character system I try to create, but it's not that there's this one person, it's just an appearance, something in gaze or something in features of characteristics. And I remember that in Latvian culture we have our mythology, we have these goddesses, like there's this goddess of health, goddess of death, goddess of fertility. So those are always females, and males were these kind of, they just came and went. For example, the thunder, it was male, it was appearing and destroying everything and just running away. Yeah, I wanted to create this portrait, but it's not like, it's just the appearance of her observing and counting the days or counting some things like when we go to, I don't know, heaven, and there's someone deciding whether we were good or bad, and this measuring thing. So, but she just absorbs, and this was the idea that she's always somewhere here, and observing how your life went, basically. Yeah.
And also, all of us who already seen this exhibition have noticed that you were able to show 3D like a live movie in 3D projections of layers, and you even have animals as a character in your works. So do animals have their own place in your exhibition? What does it mean?
So it was I wanted to create this character system, and it's something like fairy tale. You have creatures and characters like little girls and wolves and foxes and woods, and so you go inside this some sort of limbo or some sort of dream state where these characters sometimes they don't make any sound, sometimes they do make some movement, and I'm thinking about this like a accord or music piece where every single little detail gives this some sort of tone, how it vibrates. For example, something real, something aggressive, something calm, something sweet. But usually these two keywords operate when something cheerful happens together with something dreadful. So how to find this between playful and fearful, so some sort of interaction with what is going on there, but it still looks like a completely nice image, but still something off, something wrong, to have this this fairy tale going on in the viewer's mind.
So thank you for the whole picture of your exhibition, and now I'd like to move to more personal questions. It's regarding you as an artist. It's very interesting what inspires you, where you find inspiration, self-development as a, I would say, professional artist.
Yeah, that's really good question. It's I think from a lot of things what happens around. Of course, these traumatic experiences, I can't escape them. If they happen, they happen. But a lot of times it's in landscape, when I'm driving the car and the landscape just runs. It's not still, it runs, and I can watch the landscape for hours, and I think it's enough for me feeling that I have grown at this time. I have time for my thoughts, in a way. I have my students, so they inspire me as well. But yeah, it's usually as well. Actually, yes. There's these three aspects. The one, everything surrounding us, it's the personal aspect, which kind of you can't escape, and personal traumatic things, what happens in life. And then the second one is the idea, what's happening, but it's more like far away, it's distant from everyday life. It's like philosophically, but how everything is connected and how we do translate things, and how can we think about things from distance, and what, is it making sense, or is it completely randomness? And the third is I really like to work with material, and it can inspire me. Something happens and this little dot over there, I think that's it, and how can I bring it out? And these three aspects, they can't be disconnected from each other, and they're all the time working. For example, I would be interested in materials because in a year I would look completely different. But then at that point, that little dot or little dust line, something does. So I'm trying to capture it and try to save it and say it's important, maybe.
So it's absolutely inspiring to listen to you. And my next question is quite absolutely opposite to inspiration. What challenges you being an artist? What barriers do you meet on your way?
I would highlight two. The first is me. I think I'm challenging myself. Is it good enough? Is it right? Is it like the self-doubt aspect really does the job in trying to develop the work more and more and more? So it's a kind of a fight between me and my head. So overthinking these questions, should I do this or is it the right decision? And it never compliments me. It usually tries to find some failures, and I'm trying to make them right. And if it succeeds, it's oh, really did. So it's kind of self-developing, self-destroying mechanism, and it's never enough. You need to work, you need to go farther away. But then the second aspect, of course, it's kind of practical, but it's a financial aspect that if someone wants to live normal life, when you know how much income you will have, it's definitely the idea that you need to have another job, and it takes time away from your work. And the best way would be half week the work which does this benefit, at least financial aspect, and then the other half you can go inside your head and try to do the work. But for me, I have students who deals with projects in art, in visual art, and they come to me for advice. So I'm dealing with their projects, and somehow I have the sensation that I can help. So it's like the social desire for me to help someone is filled, and then in another half of the week I can go outside my head and try to convince myself to other ideas. So I think I have this balance how to communicate about art and how to do the work myself. But it is a question whether to have more financial support in other directions. So because if I have my hobby, then I don't have something else. But how to manage it, it's a quite difficult question.
You mentioned the word balance, so it kind of relates to my next question about how your personal narrative as an artist is influenced by living in different places, in different countries.
So I have lived in UK. One period was 1 year, and the second one after a few years was 1 year. And it was usually the beginning of some sort of changing the schools. So first one was Erasmus exchange program, and the second started to be exchange program, but then I entered this university and finished the MA there. But I think, of course, it gives the idea about the system itself and where I am and how can I communicate with tutors about art, and it gives you a massive understanding what works and what doesn't work. But for me as an artist, the first trip to Canterbury was a decision that I want to go away to see if I want to do art. Because I've been in art school from 6th grade, from my childhood, and then there was high school, art school, and then Art Academy of Latvia, and then it was so noisy, I didn't understand if I want to do it or I'm just doing it because I'm doing it. So I just took few things. I had just one watercolor cube, 2 brushes, and nothing else, because everything else annoyed me at the time. And I just went there and I started from new. I started from every single little drop, if I like it or if not. And that was a certain decision that I'm not going to do anything I don't like in art. And those were 12 months just going into developing and exploring what do I like and what do I like in art. So the first 7 hours every day was in painting, the painting studio, and then the second one was in library until they kicked me out at 10. So it was just, and then I went to London and I saw some really beautiful exhibitions which were really inspiring. And I started to understand what means curate, like really meticulously and perfectly curated exhibition, and how the works could look when all the environment is just because the work needs to be there. So how to give the sensation when you enter the room, you have this like a theater play, you go to one direction of the work and then the second, and I saw some really nice, inspiring examples how it's possible to do it. So yeah, it was a really fruitful year. I decided to continue to do the work.